Welcome back. We're going to start an investigation of the role of technology in instructional design and if or how technology may contribute to learning. In this video, we'll focus on the promise of educational technology. Now, as early as 1910, there were ideas of learning delivered or mediated through technology, as shown by this early French cartoon. But the ideas were taken seriously only 3 years later when Thomas Edison gave this famous quote that books will soon be obsolete in the public schools. And he said that with his invention of the motion picture, our school system will be completely changed within only 10 years. And his own studies, according to him, conclusively proved that motion pictures could be used to effectively teach students science. Well, let's move forward a little bit. So the behavioral science revolution came about in the early 50s, and its strongest proponent was B.F. Skinner, whose ideas of using a teaching machine like this with programmed learning would enable, in his words, to allow a student to learn twice as much in the same time with the same effort as a normal classroom. And he said that technology could achieve this promise because students were allowed to move at their own pace, and they could not move until they mastered what came before. So this is an implementation of mastery learning. Well, the earliest computers, the mainframe computers, actually were brought to use in education, and the MITRE Corporation, starting in 1968, created the Ticket Instructional Delivery Computer System, the first big example of computer-aided instruction. They had a curriculum in algebra, English, the sciences, and that system actually evolved into the Plato system that we have today. But they studied the system quite extensively. So if we look at their baseline of 55% of students passing a writing exam, after the first semester of use, the student achievement dropped significantly because presumably the teacher was unfamiliar with the system. But starting in the second semester, student achievement rose until after 4 semesters of use, almost twice as many students passed the exam as before. With results like this championed by academics such as Alfred Bork, it's no surprise that in succeeding decades, programmed instruction was explored in many ways. So in the 1960s, the Science Research Associates Corporation invested over $1 million to create the SRA reading program. This and the math programs that followed it were still in print. But in the 1960s and 70s, it was not uncommon to purchase a textbook in which students were expected to move through at their own rate in a system of mastery learning. In the 1980s, these systems were computerized in schools, and Plato again is the exemplar, with computer-based programmed instruction. In the 1990s, the systems became larger or became known as integrated learning systems, and the Jostens Corporation was the most well-known provider of these. So they claimed by 1995 to have 10,000 such systems in place. Each system cost about $100,000. So that means that in the 1990s, schools invested, this is 9 zeros, over $1 billion in computer-aided instruction through integrated learning systems such as Jostens. Jostens was sold, and in the 2000s, companies like Pearson, Study Island, Plato were put into use in schools. And recently, a company called Dreambox Learning has made this statement about their offering, that their system offers effectiveness comparable to human tutoring and accelerates math teaching and learning. It's interesting that this statement was made exactly 100 years after Thomas Edison's claim that his motion picture would revolutionize schools in 10 years. So, up until now, we've been looking at the behaviorist school where the computer system teaches the student. Let's look at a different system where constructivist educators such as Seymour Papert believe that students learn through constructing their own knowledge, not just through reproducing the knowledge that someone tells them. Technology here, in Papert's words, become objects to think with, and the role of the teacher is to create the conditions for learning rather than to provide them with learning ready-made. The best known instructional design theorist of these ideas is Dave Jonasson. He believed that technologies should be used as knowledge construction tools, and that children should learn with the technology, not from it. The technology should not attempt to teach the student, but rather it is used as a tool. And it's the teacher's job to model this tool use and learning from it, and to coach the students in its use and scaffold the learning situations so that they can take advantage of technology. In the internet networked age, George Siemens took these ideas a step forward, saying that technology now connects us to people and to resources for collaborative social learning. He says learning is really the process of creating learning networks, and the technology is indispensable for that. And Nicholas Negroponte, co-founder of the MIT Media Lab and founder of the One Laptop Per Child organization, believes the technology is now so powerful and easy enough for children to use that they can teach each other without the need of teachers if no teachers or schools are available, such as in rural Ethiopia. So these are dramatically increased promises over 100 years. So based on what you just heard, what's the promise of learning with technology? Is it, would you say, A, that, well, technology may hold great promise for learning, or B, that, it's always been kind of a silly idea, we really need teachers to do the teaching, or C, it's really embraced by educators wholeheartedly, or D, well, now that computers have been around for the past 40 years, it's kind of an idea that's associated with that. I'll give you a 5 count to pick your 1 or 2 best choices. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you selected choice A, there's no question about that. Everybody, even in jest, thinks that technology may hold great promise for learning. And you could also say C, that it has been embraced by educators, certainly some educators, to spend billions of dollars in this so far. In our next video, we'll talk about what the research shows about to what degree has technology achieved the promises that have been made for it.